Today we're gonna make a totally tubular boob tube. What's that? It's a tube top. Tube tops are hot right now. If you take a look at the runway, they are everywhere. This project is perfect for beginners, and I even have a free pattern for you to download on the site, Anastasia.com. Check the link down below in the description. And that's where you can get the free tube top pattern sizes extra small through 6X. And if you're a beginner and you want to make something that you can sew and wear right away, this project is for you. We're going to be sewing two different versions today. One, we're going to use just a home sewing machine, so you don't have to have a serger. And then for the second version, we're going to add elastic and we're going to use a serger. And in this video, you're going to learn a lot about working with stretchy fabrics with your regular sewing machine and your serger. So let's do it. Let's make tube top number 1. And we're going to be using this amazing rainbow knit fabric. It's June, it's Pride. Let's make a rainbow tube top. So to start this tube top, you need to download the pattern and print it out. And then cut out your size. It's only one pattern piece. When following the size chart to cut out your size, make sure you measure your bust. When you're measuring your bust, make sure you're measuring the largest part of your bust and then find your size in the size chart. This super simple pattern piece is cut too, so fold your fabric in half so that way you can cut out 2 at the same time. So I have my fabric layered up and I'm going to cut right around the outside of this pattern. This pattern does have seam allowance in it, so you do not have to add any extra seam allowance to the outside. And just like that, we have both pieces for our tube top cut out. You might be wondering, why isn't this just a rectangle? Well, it tapers at the bottom, so that way it's going to fit you better under the bust. That's why I've created this pattern for you. So we're going to be sewing this right sides together, which means whatever fabric I want on the outside, it's going to be facing each other. So we're sewing it inside out essentially. And we're going to create a seam on both sides here with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. We're going to be using the regular sewing machine and I'm going to be using my knit stitch. When I talk about the stretch stitch, this is what it looks like. I also refer to it as a lightning bolt stitch because I think it looks like a little lightning bolt. This is going to allow your seams to stretch still when they get pulled and not snap. So don't use a straight stitch because your top might fall apart if you do. And most new modern sewing machines will have a version of this stitch. Make sure you're still back stitching when you're using this stitch. And don't forget your seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. And just work your way all the way down the side. Back stitch at the end and cut. And then you should have a beautiful seam and it should still stretch. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Back stitch at the end and cut. So now we have the sides sewn up and well, it is looking like a tube top. Now the cool thing about knit fabric is that it doesn't fray, especially this double knit fabric. So you don't have to finish the top and the bottom, but I'm going to show you how to hem the top and the bottom so you have a nice looking product. If you enjoy watching Sew Anastasia, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot. And for all of those who are already following, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. And if you're looking to really perfect your sewing skills, make sure you check out my online sewing academy. There's a link down below in the description. Now back to the tube top. To finish the top and the bottom, we're going to turn it up to the inside about 3/8 of an inch and we're going to stitch it down with that lightning bolt stitch. And we're going to stitch it down with the same stitch we used before. And we're going to do that to the top and the bottom. So I have my shirt inside out, my seam open, and I folded up the edge 3/8 of an inch. And I have that stretch stitch on. Don't forget to back stitch in the beginning and then work your way all the way around the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side and check this out. It still stretches. Back stitch at the end and cut. We finished our tube top. Wasn't that quick to sew up? And it looks awesome. Let's take a look at the details and then I'll try it on later at the end of the video. So on the outside, we have our nice hems at the top and the bottom. And then on the inside, we've got that hem We've got our beautiful seam here on the outside, and then on the inside, our seam looks like that. So you can see we have the raw edges with the knit fabric, but it's not going to fray. They just kind of roll up. These are so easy to make that I know you're going to be making a ton of these this summer. If you have a pair of shorts, but you don't have a matching top, well, you can make a tube top to go with it. And I think the style would be really cute if you took some ribbons and sewed it at the top so you had some little straps, turning it into a tube top tank top. For the second tube top, we're going to be using some elastic and the serger, but this one is still very, very, very easy. So follow along and let's make a higher end tube top. I'm going to be using this metallic snake print, and it is a spandex. It's a 4-way stretch. And I'm also going to be using this plush lingerie elastic 5/8 of an inch wide. You could totally use 1/2 inch or 3/8 though as well. I have my fabric folded together so I can cut out 2 at the same time, and I'm using the same pattern. So let's cut out this tube top. All finished cutting out. So we're gonna put this right sides together again, and then we're going to serge the side seams this time, since we're using the serger for this process. So I'm gonna serge these 2 layers together with a 4-thread serger. So you can see it stretches great, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling totally tubular over here, dude. Now that we have these sides serged together, it is time to apply the elastic. So I have my tube top right side face out, and we're going to be sewing the plush elastic right side face down because we're going to end up flipping it to the inside later, and we want this plush side on our skin. So we're going to line up the 2 top edges here, and we're going to serge them together. I am not stretching this while I sew it on because I just want to add some structure and strength to the top and the bottom of this tube top, but I don't necessarily want it to look gathered up. So I have the elastic right side face down on the right side of the fabric. Not going to stretch it while I sew it on, but I'm just going to serge it here together on the edge. And I'm going to work my way all the way around the top of the tube top first. The benefit of attaching it with the serger is that it's going to give it a nice clean edge, and it's going to be nice and strong, and it's really going to allow your fabric to stretch to its potential. When you get back to where you start, go ahead and snip off your elastic. You can overlap it by about a 1/2 inch. And then go ahead and serge off. And then you'll have that elastic attached to the top. You can see how super stretchy this is. I can stretch this spandex as much as I want, and it is not popping. Okay, so now I'm attaching it to the bottom of the tube top, doing the same thing, lining up those edges and attaching the elastic to the bottom. I've overlapped my elastic, and I'm going to serge off. So we have that elastic attached at the top and the bottom. Now what we need to do is stitch it down on the inside, so that way on the outside you don't see the elastic. And I'm going to be using the broken zigzag stitch for that. So this elastic is giving our fabric more strength, more structure. It's gonna help that knit fabric bounce back when it's stretched as well. So in this stitch, I'm folding it to the inside, and I'm going to be broken zigzagging down this edge right here. So I'm using the broken zigzag, and I'm using this because it's going to give our fabric the most flexibility. Also referred to as a 3-step zigzag because there's 3 stitches in between each zig and zag. I'm also going to be making my stitch length 12. So I have my zigzag stitch selected, and we are ready to go. And I'm going to be using the B foot today. Make sure I back stitch and work my way all the way around. When we get back to where I started, I'm going to backstitch and cut. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. We are done with both tops. Tubular. Okay, let's take a look at the top we just finished. Its details are beautiful. So like I said, the other top works great, but this one is higher end. So look at the beautiful serge sides, and then we have this elastic on here. Fabric just rolls over the edge so nice, and it adds that extra strength, and it still stretches, and then it pops right back. So there's no breakage in the stitches. On the outside, you can barely notice that there's elastic there, but it's just adding some extra structure to the top. And here's our rainbow tube top. How fun is this for summer? And because of that tapered design, it fits really well on the top and below the bust. And here's our snake print tube top, and you can see how the edges look a little more reinforced with that elastic there. It just adds that little extra touch of reinforcement. And that also means it's going to be a little bit more supportive for staying on. But whichever way you choose to make your tube top, they're both going to work out great for you. The tube top is really a fun, easy, simple wardrobe staple. Missing a colored top for an outfit? Make a tube top for it. Like I said before, adding little straps to it could be super cute too. Tank top, tube top, I think, all the way. Tight a little bow. I can see it right now. So cute. And this project is great for using up your scraps because it doesn't take that much fabric. And you can really change up this pattern too if you want it to be shorter, or maybe you want it to be longer. Shorten the pattern or even add some length to it. You have a lot of options here. I would love to see the tube tops that you make this summer, so make sure you tag and share them with me. Thank you so much for watching today. If you guys have any questions on making the tube top, leave it down below in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'd love to know what videos you'd like to see this summer, so leave that down below in the comments as well. And if you enjoyed the video today, make sure you like and subscribe to Sew Anastasia and hit the notification bell so you know when the new videos come out. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today. These videos are for you guys. And don't forget to follow me on all the socials so that way we can stay connected and creative together. And check out the behind the scenes action in the studio on my Instagram stories. And don't forget, you can take sewing classes here in person with me in Chicago. Check out the link down below for that. And if you're not in Chicago, check out my online sewing classes. There's a link for that down below as well. Stay tubular, y'all. See you later.